Everyone, welcome to another episode of Women Empowerment Series video podcast today. And I am very honored and delighted to have a very special guest with me. It's Jan Drew. Hi, Jan. How are you? Good morning.
Hi, Farisha. Hi, everyone. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah. So, how are you doing? Coping in the lockdown at the moment?
As well as anybody, I guess, just sort of focusing on the things you can control and trying to stay positive and just keeping busy.
Exactly. And it's good to have a positive mindset, even though right now that we are experiencing a lockdown in Malaysia. So, Jan, can you tell us more about yourself?
Yeah, I've been in Malaysia 14 and a half years. I came here to set up the University of Melbourne office. And when that job finished in 2010, I set up my own business. And so currently we have a business called The Global Student. We work with Australian universities to bring Australian university students to Southeast Asia for internships, study tours, and volunteer programs. So we've gone from, in the last 10 years, we started with just me and one program with 7 students in it. And up just before COVID hit, we were up to a team of 6 people and 400 students coming. So, of course, that's been destroyed pretty much because of COVID.
Yeah, I think all of the industries, the businesses are hit hard by COVID, right? But I believe that we can bounce back. Yeah, we can bounce back after, after lockdown is over.
Well, that's what we're working on. Yeah, trying to prepare for when we come out the other side.
So, Jan, can you tell me what is the most difficult challenges that you have encountered in your career, and how do you bounce back? How do you, go through the challenges?
Well, I've had a lot, I guess. I've been working for a long time. So, in 40 years, there's been many challenges. Probably the hardest one was setting up my own business. And I set that up here in Malaysia. And that was really challenging. On my own, I didn't borrow any money or anything like that. I just used my own sort of savings and all my connections to try and make it happen. And it was not easy starting out as a consultant and then slowly, trying to create little projects and get work happening here and there. But it was really, really tough for the first couple of years. And, there were times when I had to borrow from my family to help pay my rent and things like that while I was waiting for money to come in. And I used to wake up in the middle of the night thinking, are you crazy? You're 50 years old. Why are you starting a business? But when the times got really, really tough, I used to think, sometimes I think, are you mad? But other times I think, what? Men start businesses all the time. So it can't be that difficult. There's no reason why a woman can't start a business and get it up and running, So I sort of always kept that in the back of my mind that, that as long as you get out of bed and you do sort of 3 things every day towards, making the business work, then, it will all happen. And it did, it sort of worked from there, just sort of one foot in front of the other, and trying to just keep focused on where I thought I was going,
Okay, and the next question, what does woman empowerment means to you in your own words?
Well, I guess it probably means a lot of different things to different people, but I guess for me, it's more about, supporting and encouraging women and help and, providing opportunities for women. When I was setting up my business, I was fortunate that I had some key women who supported me and provided encouragement, provided introductions, helped me get projects, things like that. Some of those women are still around, still good friends of mine. And I've always paid that forward, whenever I get the opportunity to provide opportunities for young women in particular through our programs, or even in my own business, I only employ women. I'm quite sexist in that regard. I like having an all-female team. I think it works really well. There's no sort of egos. It just seems to work really well. And I just think that we really need to be sure that we're providing examples to younger women that, anything is possible. And that, that I went back to university as a single parent and did 2 degrees. I've always worked as a single parent. In my mid 40s, I came to Malaysia. I just left my life in Melbourne and came to Malaysia. And when I was 50, I started a business. And I think that, by showing people how you can do that and sharing my experience helps empower other women, that if somebody like me can do it, anybody can do it. I'm not special. I'm just somebody that, as I said before, I get out of bed and, try and keep focused on doing 3 simple things a day to try and keep things moving forward.
That's amazing, Jan, because you step outside of your comfort zone and you take risks.
Way beyond.
And you take
way beyond my comfort zone a couple of times.
You step outside of your comfort zone. And that's amazing because you develop that growth mindset, you see? Because when you develop the growth mindset, you step to the unknown, you take the challenge, you go through the risk.
Well, I'll tell you another thing. When I was setting up my business, I thought that there was some thing, like some formula or something you had to follow. And I reckon I read about 10 books on setting up a business, like 10 mistakes women entrepreneurs have made, how to write a business plan for dummies, all these sorts of books. And you know what? Every one of them sort of said the same thing, that if you're not afraid of failing, you will just keep moving forward. And, and if you do, if you fail at certain times, then you learn from those mistakes and you keep moving forward.
Exactly.
And I guess
it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. Yeah.
And you sort of got to overcome your fear of failure, and as I said, like there were times when I was, as I said, I couldn't pay my rent and things like that. But following my mantra, I would get up in the morning and I would go and sit at my desk and I would make 3 phone calls or send 3 emails or tick 3 things off my to-do list. And every time I did something like that, something happened. Like somebody, if I rang somebody or I emailed,
magic happens. That is when the magic
you've been on my to-do list. I've been meaning to contact you. Oh, okay. So I realized that, it's not going to happen if you just sit around thinking, oh my God, how am I going to pay my bills? You actually have to do something. And that's the key thing, is if you just say, and when it all seems really overwhelming, just do 3 things, because 3 things, well, then you'll do 4, 5, 6, and 7 things. But if you just promise yourself you're going to do 3 things every day, and sometimes it's only 3 things, it's all you can manage. But it usually means if you can do 3 things, then you will do 4, 5, 6, 7 things. You create momentum. I think that's really important. Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to get up and do it. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And the next question, who are the most inspiring women leaders that you admire in Malaysia and also internationally? And it can be more than one.
All right. Okay. Well, look, in Malaysia, I think one of my key people that I look up to in Malaysia is a friend of mine, actually, called Marissa who is, she was an action coach, business coach. And she is the sort of person that just is, that everybody needs to know and everybody needs to have in their corner. And she's taught me so much. And she's a lot younger than me, but she is always positive, always looking for the solution, always engaging, networking, helping people find solutions, referring people. And to me, that's just the epitome of what a good business person should be, and I just admire her because she's actually done this, built up her business in the, she left a really, a very successful position in a large bank, if I recall, or something like that, to set up her own business. And here she is, I think about 15 years later, and she's built, a really successful business and made some really important connections along the way. But what I really admire about her the most is how she shares that, and how she's always teaching people. And it's never too much for her to say, let's have a coffee and let's talk about what your problem is, and let's see how we can find a solution. And when she does that for me, that inspires me to do it for somebody else. Because I've got knowledge as well. She's got knowledge that will help me, but I've got knowledge that might help other people. So her example, provides me, with the impetus to pay it forward, I guess, to help other women as well. And internationally, I guess I have a rather famous Australian who I admire very, very much. And she's a female politician in Adelaide, Senator Penny Wong. And I admire her very much. She's Malaysian born, actually. She was born in Sarawak, but has lived most of her life in Australia. I think she came as a small child, maybe 6 years old. And what I admire about her is her tenacity, her ability to really take on what is a really male environment, a really masculine, often misogynistic environment, and just keep fighting for her place in it. Penny is an Asian, she is a lesbian, and she's a female politician. And that is just, my God, how, being a woman is enough, but being Asian and homosexual is just, two other things that just don't sit so well within Australian politics. And I just think, the fact that she can get up every single day and go in and fight the good fight for what she believes in must just take an incredible amount of strength and tenacity, courage, and willpower.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Courage, real courage. And she's another one that doesn't do it for herself and on her own. She takes women with her. So she surrounds herself with, amazing women. She supports other women in the party that she serves, and in Parliament in particular, I think. And I just think, what would possess you, to take to, it's just an incredible amount of strength and courage to say, I'm going to do this, when a lot of other people would say, Australia is not ready for an Asian, parliamentarian, and because there are very, very few, but she's in there fighting that fight. And I admire people like that just, a lot of people might say, oh, it's all too hard, and she just goes, let me at them, And when I see her in something called Senate estimates, where they call to account, checks and balances in the government, when she's questioning people about things, and I think, wow, she's fearsome. I'd hate to be doing the wrong thing and have her questioning me, but she does it with a real, I don't know, it's just the way that she does it is just so measured and considered,
Yeah.
Sorry?
Carpe diem, seize the day. She just sees it. She just goes.
Yeah, that's it, and I admire women like that. There's lots of them. There's a few other women like that in Australia as well, but she's one in particular that I just think, good grief, if ever it's hard enough to be a female politician, but to throw in the other things into the mix is just something, that I really admire,
Yeah, I admire Jacinda Ardern, the Prime Minister of New Zealand.
Oh,
she's amazing.
Absolutely. Another one, and there she's with, she's a young mother as well, a pregnant Prime Minister, where, how many times in the history of the world have we had a pregnant Prime Minister? I find her astonishing, and again, it's that not only she's doing it at what would be considered a very young age, and again, she doesn't fit the stereotype of what a Prime Minister should be, and yet she's out there doing it, and I just think, it just inspires so many women. If she can do that, then what's your excuse, I guess, for not trying, that's what I think. I think, God, if she can be doing that, well, I have no excuse, I don't have small children, I don't have this, I need to, should be inspired by her. She's terrific.
Yeah, I love for the fact that, she have empathy and humility in her leadership, and she cares about her people.
Yeah. And it shows, it really shows. I think that's what women in leadership roles can bring, is that side that and I'm not saying that men can't, but women just do it effortlessly, are able to perhaps communicate it better than men. And that's why I'm sort of surprised that there are not more women in politics. But then when you see all the, the things that stop women from getting into politics, I think it's surprising that any of them get there at all, really. Yeah.
Okay, so we have come to the last question, Jan. Okay, so the last question. What is your advice to the younger generation, the millennials, the Gen Z?
Oh, God. I guess I sort of try, I could talk for hours on this, but I sort of limit it to, about 3 key things when I'm talking to my students, when they're here. And I always say, you're going to be working for 40 years. Find something that you like, I'm very fortunate. For most of my working life, I have had jobs that I've enjoyed. And when you don't enjoy them, change, find something else, even all the hard, difficult times with my own business, I've never, ever wanted to not get out of bed. I enjoy getting out of bed each day and looking forward to the new challenges. I really love what I'm doing. And if you can't say that about your job, then you need to find something that you can say that about. And it may be difficult when you're young to be able to work in the thing that you're passionate about, because it might, you might need to develop skills or whatever. But that's my second point. Keep your options open. So too many students, are doing degrees. I encounter many students doing degrees that they're not really all that, interested in, but because they've started it, they think they have to finish it. And of course, particularly even in Asia, that's even worse. If you started something, you might be doing something that your parents want you to do rather than something that you want to do. And I think that that's fine. But as long as while you are doing that, you are keeping your options open. So take a subject here and a subject there that add to your portfolio. Join clubs and societies, engage with organizations that will help you build those other skills on the side, because a degree is just not a be all and end all. It's just a vehicle to help you get to the next stage. So if while you're in that vehicle, you're able to throw some extra stuff in the trunk, like connections and experience, volunteering, taking positions on clubs and societies, all those sorts of things, you're adding to your baggage, your toolkit, I guess, so that, when you are in a position to be able to go, what, I'm not doing this anymore, I want to do this, then you've got something to bring to the table. And I think finally, my third thing that I always say is say yes. Say yes to everything. If somebody offers you something, if you see an opportunity, say yes. Don't let your fears think that, I'm too young, or I'm not experienced enough, or I don't know enough about this. When somebody offers you something or somebody provides an opportunity, say yes. And I think Richard Branson always says, opportunity. Say yes and work out how to do it later. And I think that is, especially in this day and age, you can get away with pretty much anything. And especially, in our COVID world where everything's online, young people have access to so much stuff now because of everything being online, that there's really no excuse, that you can meet people, you can use tools like LinkedIn to engage, to meet people, to join conversations, to put your brand out there. There's just so many opportunities for young people to position themselves, not just as, oh, I'm a fresh grad, or I'm this, or I'm that, There's so much stuff that you can learn about developing your own brand and developing self-confidence that wasn't available, 10, 15 years ago. I just think there's so much out there that can help young people really go and find what they want to do. When I lived in Malaysia, when I came to Malaysia in 2007, there was, to get a cup of coffee here, you had Dome and Starbucks and Coffee Bean, I think, not my cup of tea at all. I come from Melbourne, the coffee capital of the world. So none of those push my buttons. But, now how many coffee places are there, and how many kinds of coffee places, and places like, artisan type coffees, and, that have sprung up in the last 10 years, and little cafes that
like
are Melbourne inspired.
Yeah, something like
just Melbourne inspired things. And I think, wow, here's young people that have come back from completing their degrees in Australia, and they go, you know what? Yeah, I've got a degree in engineering, but I realized I don't really want to be an engineer. But you know what I do like? I like coffee, and I like talking to people. And I've got a friend that does this, and I've got a friend that does that. Let's pull our skills together and let's do something. And that's what I think has been amazing. Ben's Independent Grocers, another one of, somebody that came back from overseas and went, oh, that's not really what I want to do anymore. I want to do this, and develop something that has grown into this giant brand. So I think, these are perfect examples of how a degree can be the vehicle, but it doesn't have to be the thing that ties you. It doesn't have to tie you to a job for the next 40 years, which is what it was like, 15, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. You finished your degree, you became an engineer, accountant, or whatever it was, and that's what you did for 40 years. You don't have to do that anymore. Look at me. I'm a 60-year-old woman, and I've recreated myself, probably pretty much every decade of my life. So, it doesn't mean that, my degree is actually as a secondary teacher, but I've never actually set foot in a classroom and taught, because I've used that degree to do other things. I'm still teaching. I'm teaching people all the time, but I'm not teaching in a classroom. And I could have just gone, oh, I'm a teacher, I'm going to go and teach and do that for the next 30 years. And I am so grateful that I never, ever did that, because I took my life into another area that allowed me to actually be living in Malaysia, which I never thought would have ever happened, 20 or 30 years ago. So, for young people, don't tie your degree to your job, unless of course you're a doctor or something like that, but where you really want to be. But it doesn't have to be that way, I just think go out and really, to have the courage to tread your own path, and make sure that you are connecting and engaging in the world. And the more that you do that, the more the opportunities open up, and you have the opportunity to create your own life, and not live the life that you thought or your parents want. Perhaps, you do that.
Thank you so much, Jen. Thank you so much for the sharing session today. So we have come to the end of Woman Empowerment Series video podcast. And for those of you out there who are watching this, I hope you are inspired and also motivated by the sharing from Jen Drew just now. Till then, stay safe, take care. Bye.
Bye.